Okay. Yeah, how to talk without talking. Seems a little strange. I explain. When we as developers, we all usually make games, we have to communicate certain things to the players. For example, how much health has the player left, or where to go next to find the next goal. And what I'm going to talk about is how to do all this, but without talking to the player directly, but rather using the game and its elements themselves. So this is the usual approach we have. Like we have the health bar on the top left, we have the spanner that shows us our next goal. Pretty simple. So you may not say, what's the matter? Why not change anything? Well, the reason for that is, well, it might be this, show, don't tell, which is something you may know from writing. And one of the reasons to use this there is to keep the reader immersed, to keep the reader emotionally attached to what's happening. And these are basically the same two reasons we would use this for games, emotion and immersion. So if we take a look back, the problem here might be that the interface is on a separate layer. It's somewhere between the game and the player. So it's kind of hindering the player of getting fully immersed into the game. So how to change this? Well, the first approach might be put the interface into the world. And this might look like this. And this is obviously pretty cool, I think. But there's still a problem, because now the interface is actually in the world, but it's not part of the world. So it's not part of the fiction. It's still talking to the player. So we might want to change this. Now the interface has to talk to the player directly. Not to the player directly, obviously. And this might look like this. I don't know if you can see it. There's this blood splattering around the screen, which is, now instead of a health bar, we have this blood splattering. And this is there for the player as well as for the character in the game, because the character can feel it, the player can see it, obviously. But now we again have the problem that it's not in the world. It's again somewhere in between, and we don't want this. So obviously, what to do? Combine these two solutions, and we get something like this. Now there's no real interface more. Now we have the spline of the character there on the left, which is kind of the health, and the ammunition displayed on the weapon. And this is actually part of the game, because it's in the world as well as it's in the fiction, because our character can see it as well as we do. And this has a name, and this is called a diegetic interface. And here are the main 4 types I've shown you before. And you may not say, okay, that's cool and stuff, but I'm not making a first-person shooter. I'm not making a third-person game. I don't need to have a character. So can I use this? And I say, yes, you can, because the same principles can be used anywhere. Show, don't tell, talk without talking. As an example, I have Anno 2070, which is a fairly complex build-up strategy game. And as you can see, it has a lot of information on the screen, and it uses a very classical interface. So why do I show you this? Well, the main reason is this zoomed-in number that is -74, which is called eco-balance. And it shows you how eco-friendly your island in the game is. So the key here is visualization. Like in Dead Space, they visualized the health on the spline of the character on the back. Here they used at least the same principle, which you can see here. On the left, we have the highest eco-balance possible, and on the right, we have the lowest eco-balance possible. And I think this is pretty amazing, because it takes the metaphor of an eco-balance and a simple number, such as the health in Dead Space, and visualize it for the player. And now the player can, in a very subtle and subconscious way, add emotions to it. Because if you take 10 hours with an island on the left, it's pretty good. But the right one looks unhealthy and dirty, and this is not what you want as a player, so you might want to change this. And this is where I think usual interfaces and concepts wouldn't work anymore, because you have to translate abstract and metaphorical concepts. And yeah, maybe you can take a look at your game and see if you can start to talk without talking. Thank you.